and some things that should not have been forgotten were lost.
Manwë, the vice-regent of none other than Eru Iluvatar, the creator and conductor of the music of the Ainur, and the revealing of Ea and Arda to the prestigious Valar. No other Vala understood the will of Eru better than Manwë, and so it is without coincidence he finds himself as an alternate name to Ouranos Iluvatar as Akmôn. Or would you prefer to correlate Manwë's alternate name in Kalamando with Akámatos, the other alternate name for Ouranos? Thanks for tuning in, and remember, when in doubt, always follow your nose. In the thought of Eru, Manwë pondered the songs of airs and winds. With this thought, he led the second theme of the music of the Ainur. Whilst his brother Melkor sowed discord in the form of Eris, the spirit of strife and discord in Greek mythology. For staying true to Eru's thought, the titles Manwë holds are the Elder King, the King of the Valar, the High King of Arda, the Lord of the Breath of Arda, and the Lord of Aman. These titles can be expressed through an epithet of Zeus, known as Zeus Euênemos, which roughly translates to King of the Good-Named Fair Winds, or King of the Honored. In Ilmarin, atop Taniqueto, he would reside with his most beautiful spouse, who ruled as Queen of the Valar, Varda Elantari, the Queen of the Stars. Their marriage is expressed in the Iliad by Homer, whereby the king of Sparta, Menelaus Manwë, wedded Helen Elantari of Troy, the Queen of Sparta. Much of the lore of Manwë is expressed through Ouranos in Greek mythology, for Manwë best served his will, and Tolkien states himself that the writer of the story, Eru, is the one ever-present person who is never absent and never named.
History became legend. Legend became myth.
From the Silmarillion and Ainulindalë.
But of the airs and winds, Manwë was it pondered, who was the noblest of the Ainur.
In Greek mythology, there is a spirit of nobility named Kalokagathia, and that name means nobility, gentlemanliness, beautiful and good, traits of a gentleman in ancient Greek. Kalokagathia is a spirit of Manwë, or Kalamando, if you'd like a phonetic correlation. With his titles King of the Valar and the High King of Arda, he expresses his nobility, while his gentlemanliness is connected to his name, Manwë, the Spirit Man, and Quenya. To my understanding, the Valar bear the natural forces of the world for the children of Iluvatar, or us here on Earth. And so matter, the most basic substance that is made from atoms, is made from the nucleosynthesis of stars. This is the realm of Ilmarin, from which Sulimo Helios and Sulimi Selene dwell, and it is the first classical element expressed through Manwë's association with the airs, winds, and the gas state of matter. He, along with Aulë and Ulmo, affected matter at the atomic level. Aulë is a solid state of matter, for he is the Olympus of our world, the composition of our earth, the raw mountains which provide precious metals for the dwarves. Ulmo is the liquid state of matter, for he is the Zeus Limenia of our world, the waters of our earth, the deep sea with which bears hope for the children of Iluvatar. The three classical elements are hinted at in this passage of the Ainulindalë.
So began their great labors, in wastes unmeasured and unexplored, and in ages uncounted and forgotten, until in the deeps of time, in the midst of the vast halls of Ea, there came to be that hour and that place was near the habitation of the children of Iluvatar. And in this work the chief part was taken by Manwë and Aulë and Ulmo.
In this next passage, we discover that Melkor is a brother of Manwë. Not only that, but we see Melkor covet the earth to which the Valar so created, calling it his kingdom, and only his, a possession, a gotcha, to which he lies to the children of Iluvatar, and calls himself Morgoth, the Lord of the world, the god who banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. Or is it Taimo and Varda, unable to locate Utumno in Tolkien Legendarium, the ones who gain knowledge of good and evil and understand the world is of many colors, not just the black and white, good and evil one that Morgoth proclaims.
But Melkor too was there from the first, and he meddled in all that was done, turning if he might to his own desires and purposes, and he kindled great fires. And therefore earth was yet young and full of flame. Melkor coveted it, and he said to the other Valar,
This shall be my own kingdom, and I name it unto myself.
But Manwë was the brother of Melkor in the mind of Ilúvatar, and he was a chief instrument of the second being that Ilúvatar had raised up against the discord of Melkor. And he called unto himself many spirits, both greater and less, and they came down into the fields of Arda, and aided Manwë, lest Melkor should hinder the fulfillment of the labor forever, and earth should wither ere it flowered. And Manwë said unto Melkor,
This kingdom thou shalt not take for thine own, wrongfully, for many others have labored here, no less than now.
And there was strife between Melkor and the other Valar.
Continuing on the brotherhood of Manwë and Melkor is the Valaquenta, as understood by the elves.
Manwë and Melkor were brethren in the thought of Ilúvatar. The money-seller's Ainur who came to the world was at his beginning Melkor, but Manwë dears to Ilúvatar and understands most clearly his purposes. He was appointed to be, in the fullness of time, the first of all kings, lord of the realm of Arda, and ruler of all that dwell therein. In Arda his delight is in the winds and the clouds, and in all the regions of the air. From the heights to the depths, from the utmost borders of the vale of Arda, to the breezes that blow in the grass. Sulimo he is surnamed, lord of the breath of Arda. All swift birds, strong of wing, he loves, and they come and go at his bidding.
Sulimo is remembered as Helios in Greek mythology, the titan of the sun. Though this is not just our sun, but it is all stars, for all stars are composed of gas to which Manwë creates and bears for us.
With Manwë dwells Varda, lady of the stars, who knows all regions of Ea. Too great is her beauty to be declared in the words of men or of elves, for the light of Ilúvatar lives still in her face. In light is her power and her joy. Out of the deeps of Ea she came to the aid of Manwë. For Melkor she knew from before the making of the music, and rejected him, and he hated her, and feared her more than all others whom Eru made. Manwë and Varda are seldom parted, and they remain in Valinor. Their halls are above the everlasting snow upon Oyalase, the uttermost tower of Tanaquetul, tallest of all the mountains upon earth. When Manwë there ascends his throne and looks forth, if Varda is beside him, he sees further than all other eyes, through mist and through darkness, and over the leagues of the sea.
Since Sulimo is Helios, then Varda, who is called Sulimi, is without a doubt Selene, the shining white tightness of the moon. Together they represent the matter and energy created from stars, to which the elves look to beyond all other things.
Among them, the Valar 9 grow chief power and reverence, but one is removed from their number, and 8 remain, the Eritar, the high ones of Arda, Manwë and Varda, Ulmo, Yavanna and Aulë, Penthos, Thia, and Orome. Though Manwë is their king and holds their allegiance under Eru, in majesty they are peers, surpassing beyond compare all others, whether of the Valar and the Maiar, or of any other order that Ilúvatar has sent into Ea.
As opposed to Melkor, who claimed kingship of Earth because he named it unto himself, Manwë is acclaimed the High King of Arda, for Arda goes beyond the Earth and represents the world beyond. The starry heavens to which Ouranos Akmôn bears for us. From Apollodorus 1.1.1, it is said,
Ouranos was the first who ruled over the whole world, and having wedded Gaia, he begat first the 100-handed, as they are named, Briareos, Gaius, Cortus, who are unsurpassed in size and might, each of them having 100 hands and 50 heads.
These 100-handed Hecatoncheires he locked away within the belly of the earth. These are the Balrogs who took up residence in Utumno when Melkor descended upon earth, the cherubim and seraphim. Reading from the Theogony by Hesiod, here's how Kronos deposed Ouranos from his kingship.
And vast Gaia rejoiced greatly in spirit, and sat and hid him in ambush, and put in his hands a jagged sickle, and revealed to him the whole plot.
Notice how he was hid, and how this can take precedence, that Kronos hid himself within the belly of the earth, that is Gaia. Just as Melkor delved his fortress of Utumno into the far north, bathed beyond impenetrable shadow.
And Ouranos came, green on night and longing for love, and lay about Gaia, spreading himself full upon her. Then the sun, from his ambush, stretched forth his left hand, and in his right took the great long sickle with jagged teeth, and swiftly lopped off his father's members, and cast them away to fall behind him.
Thus did Melkor proclaim the kingdom of Manwë, the kingdom of Adam, the first man, and his descendants, for himself, the kingdom of God that reigns from on high. Speaking of the descendants of Adam, here's the Alkmon, fragment 61, from Eustathius, on Homer's Iliad.
The father of Ouranos, as was said already, is called Akmôn, because heavenly motion is untiring, Akámatos. And the son of Ouranos are Akmôn Eudai. The ancients make these 2 points clear. Akmôn, they say, tells that the heaven belongs to Akmôn. The text may also be read as Ouranos is Akmôn.
From chapter 1 of the beginning of days.
Manwë has no thought for his own honor, and is not jealous of his power, but rules all to peace. The Vanjar he loved best of all the elves, and of him they received song and poetry. For poetry is the delight of Manwë, and the song of words is his music. His raiment is blue, and blue is the fire of his eyes, and his scepter is of sapphire, which the Nodo wrought for him, and he was appointed to be the vice-regent of Iluvatar, king of the world of Valar, and elves and men, and the chief defense against the evil of Melkor.
Ouranos is the primordial of the sky, and so it would make sense that Manwë's raiment, eyes, and scepter are all blue, the colors of the sky. Lastly, I really want to drive home how close Manwë is to Iluvatar, almost as if he represents him within our realm of Ea, the universe. Meanwhile, Eru resides in the timeless halls outside the circles of the world.
Manwë sat long in thought upon Tenochtitl, and sought the counsel of Iluvatar. And coming then down to Valmar, he summoned the Valar to the Ring of Doom, and thither they came, even Ulmo of the Outer Sea. Then Manwë said to the Valar,
This is the counsel of Iluvatar in my heart, that we should take up again the mastery of Arda, at whatsoever cost, and deliver the Quendi from the shadow of Melkor.
And so the lore of Ouranos is tricky to decipher. Is it Eru getting his nuts cut off by Melkor? Or is it the will of Eru through Manwë? For Manwë was remembered as Ouranos Akmôn in Greek mythology. And so that's the Quenta of Manwë of Eru and Akmôn of Ouranos, the primordial of the starry heavens in Greek mythology. Manwë is a lord of the breath of Arda, and I wonder how many people out there don't get what that means. As Lord of the Breath of Arda, Manwë represents the soul of the world, the anima mundi, as Latin writers like to imagine. With anima meaning soul, spirit, life, air, breeze, and breath, and mundi meaning universe, world, the heavens, mankind, the inhabitants of earth, and a group of people. As I'll explain in my next video on Manwë's spirit, with Penthos, the spirit of grief and bonding. I'll be making references to the Bible, where Manwë is represented not only as Adam, the first man, but also Noah, where taking animals inside the ark is a metaphor on how Tolkien envisioned Arda as his tremendous ship, the Ivini Kemen, or the vessel of the earth. For everything that's living, that breathes air, lives upon this barge that is commandeered by Wanwavoitë, or Noah, and that includes you and I.
Down from